And welcome to another episode of the Match Betting Chronicles. And today I just want to discuss whether serious match bettors do the opposite of what the gurus say and whether they actually lay first instead of backing first. For me personally, I usually lay first. On this game, Everton versus Leicester, I backed first and now I'm in trouble. And I will show you why. So on the odds matcher, I saw a match for Leicester at odds of 2.9 with lay odds of 3. I checked the exchange and that was right. Now, Leicester was on Star Sports. So although I normally lay first, Star Sports are notoriously quick to cut their odds. So I had the tab open actually, and I very quickly backed Leicester at odds of 2.9 with a 200 stake. And when I came back to the exchange, the lay odds had drifted to 305. So that leaves me with a problem. This is what my qualifying loss should be, £6.67, which some people might think is a bit high, but this is actually a good plus EV bet for a stake of £200. But if I lay now, I'm looking at almost £10 in qualifying loss, which I don't think is a plus EV bet. I haven't laid yet. That's a different game. I haven't laid yet, and I'm in the queue at the moment. So I'm hoping somebody on Matchbook backs Leicester because I think my £200 is first in the queue. So if somebody backs, I can get my lay bet matched. So I'm not going to panic at the moment, but things could get worse. Say if the odds start to drift, and say if they went to 3.1, I'm now looking at a £13 qualifying loss, or 3.2, it would be almost a £20 qualifying loss. So I do need to keep an eye on this, and if things look like they're going to get worse, I just need to lay the bet. So going back to, do serious match bettors lay first? I think for 2-ups, they do. I can understand why the gurus say back first, and that's because people that are new, they do a lot of different offers, and they might be laying an obscure market with not much liquidity. So if, for example, they lay first and they take out all the liquidity, and then they try to back their bet and they find they're gubbed, or they can't get or they're stake restricted, they can't get a full stake on, they're then left with a dangerous lay bet that they can't get out of. But for 2-ups, I think, especially with liquidity like this, it's not really much of a problem. Say if I backed, say if I did my lay bet first and it got matched at 3, then I went to Star Sports, they'd actually cut from 2.9 down to 2.7. I could just trade out on the exchange. In this case, I could back at odds of 3 and I could get out for 0. Sometimes it goes the wrong way, and you might need to get out your bet, but it's normally just one tick. So you're looking at just a couple of quid down to get out of the trade. So I think that's not too bad. It's common in match betting when you see a good match on the 2-up matcher. A lot of people also see that. So the liquidity can very quickly disappear. And I think that's what's happened here. A lot of people saw Leicester at 3. There seemed to be a high number here for the liquidity, but other match bettors have taken that out. So I definitely should have laid first. It was only because it's Star Sports and they just cut so much quicker than Bet365 and Paddy Power. But having said all that, there are situations where it might be a little bit dangerous to lay first. Say this game, Brentford versus Tottenham. Now, the liquidity is quite low here, so let's say we saw Tottenham at odds of 2 and we can lay at 202, yeah? I could do my late bet first, take out this liquidity, and then I might find that Bet365 have cut odds of 2 and they're now 1.9. And I'd have a lay bet here, and I'd be in big trouble because there's a big gap between the back and lay here. So to get out of this bet, I'd have to back at 1.91. So that'll be a big loss. So with these kind of games where there's a big gap, it's better to back first. But when the liquidity is high and there's only like 1 or 2 ticks difference, I'd say you're probably better off laying the bet first. Anyway, that's my opinion. I know the match betting groups like Team Profit and the other gurus will tell you to back first, but I hope you can see my reasons for laying first. Thanks very much for listening, and see you next time.